Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's video update. I hope you are all doing very well. Now, if you are new, my name is Tino, and you've checked into Traders Reality. Now, listen, in tonight's video, we're going to be breaking it down. We're going to look at Bitcoin and going to have a look at why it's not moving the way we want it to move. Is it getting ready to move up or is it getting ready to move down? The million-dollar question. That's what's on everyone's minds. We're also going to be looking into why the Federal Reserve has a problem. And that problem isn't just inflation or interest rates. It's trying to work out which one it's going to do. Is it going to pause on the interest rates or is it going to increase the interest rates by only a small amount? Either one is going to bring a reaction to the marketplace. Moving on from that, we're going to be diving into why Warren Buffett is picking up a particular stock, which usually leads other investors to follow suit. But the main topic tonight, man, a few YouTubers have had a class action lawsuit filed against them on the grounds of them promoting FTX. So we're going to have a look at that bad boy and see what's been going on over there. So if you are new to the channel and you're still here, mad love and respect, let's have a conversation. So we have BTC. Currently sat on the 15-minute time frame, and it's not really going anywhere. Let's just go on to the 1-hour time frame, and you can see Bitcoin is doing very well to hold its gains on the 50 EMA. Now, remember, we said last night that Bitcoin has this area to hold, because if it can hold this area, then that's great news. We would then naturally anticipate Bitcoin to start working its way back up. But we're going into some news announcements tomorrow that can move the markets. You see, on a Friday, the market can do one of two things. It can either pause and just trade sideways in preparation for the start of next week, because we do have big news announcements next week, or it can get ready to run for the profit. In other words, has the market, or should I say, is the market getting ready to come down to eat the liquidity right here? Or is it getting ready to mark up and start attacking this next area of interest in Bitcoin, which sits around the 27,600 zone? And that would be the vector candles right here. Now, moving on from that, we need to have a look at the liquidations to see what's going on in the near ranges. You can see that we have got a lot of commitment coming in by short sellers and longs. So you see at the top part right here is where the liquidation points are for the shorts. If we zoom in, you can see just about here at 25,175, we've got around about $559 million worth of short liquidations. Now, I updated this chart at 5 to 7. If I do that again, we're going to see if Bitcoin has made its way towards that zone. Happy days. Look, it's coming up towards it, but not just taking it yet. There's still around $570 million worth of short liquidations in that range, but we're now starting to see a lot of commitment of traders to the downside, showing that they have got $642 million worth of long liquidations at 24,425. So you can see the range is relatively tight. Now, if we go into this chart right here, which shows us the liquidation levels, you can see what's been going on in today's price action. Not much. It's been trading sideways. We haven't actually had any initial purchases other than today when the market actually dropped and we had $59.67 million worth of shorts opened as price has been dropping. So now we've got the context. We know that those shorts have been liquidated because those are really, the majority of them are 100x traders. So you look above here and you can see they've all been liquidated at 24,765. That's a sad story. Now we're at the 24,900 zone. And you can see that Bitcoin is trying its best to move higher. Okay? So as long as Bitcoin can move away from this 50 EMA on the 1-hour time frame, it may be a promise that Bitcoin can move higher from now going into the start of the next trading session tomorrow. Okay? From a daily perspective, we can see that Bitcoin, it's like it wants to go and test that 27,549 region. That sits at the 800 EMA on the daily time frame. Now, why is this area important? Because this will be the first time that Bitcoin has tested this area since back in May 2022. Now, if Bitcoin can break this zone right here, you would initially be looking for price to go above it, to come back into it, to continue further up. Now, with that being said, let's have a look at what's going on in terms of inflows and outflows in the marketplace. We can see that today we've only had roughly around 2,616 Bitcoin deposited into exchanges. So naturally, we're going to assume that if they're depositing them into exchanges, it means that they're seeking liquidity. But the problem with this data is it just tells us that it's going into an exchange. How do we not know it's going into an exchange and then going to another exchange and then coming back into a wallet? You just don't know. It just tells you on all exchanges, we've had roughly around 2,616 Bitcoin pumped into the exchanges. Now, we can see that as, they may be looking for liquidity to sell, but if price keeps on moving higher, then that might not be a valid figure. Who knows? In news today, First Republic receives a helping hand from good old JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America. They're all contributing around $5 billion to save this bank, which is coming to the sum of around $30 billion so that they can keep this bank afloat. Now, well done, JP Morgan. Mad love and respect for helping your fellow banking peers. Why wasn't that actually happening back in 2007, 2008 when Lehman Brothers was on the brink of collapse? Well, they actually declared themselves bankrupt. And then, ironically enough, the Fed or the government passed a $700 billion bill so that they can pump liquidity back into the economy because it was just going crazy at that time. Moving on from that, we've got good old Warren Buffett buying an oil stock. Why is this relevant? Usually when Warren buys something, it usually ends up other people looking to get involved in it as well. So we actually have a look at the stock, and he's involved in Occidental Petroleum. Now, when the economy is not looking too great, well, we know that from the yields and the bonds. The bonds are starting to move up. And when the bonds move up, it's because investors don't think the economy is looking too good in the near future. So we kind of like reduce the inversion curve. When the inversion curve happens, it means that there is likely a recession that's on its way. And usually in recessions, people like to invest in commodities because whether you're in a recession or not, people still need oil. People still need medicine. People will still need aerospace and defense mechanisms. Look what's going on around the world. We still need to stay on top of those things. That's why those are the industry sectors that are called recession-proof. They may not be making mad gains to the upside, but they are great to diversify your portfolios. If you do look to invest in tech stocks and they're taking a little bit of a tumble, you can rely on your medical stocks and your aerospace and defense stocks as a leeway to your portfolio. It's like a buffer, so you don't absorb that much of a loss or exposure. Now, this company right here, you can see $52 billion market cap, not bad, not looking great in terms of their projections in the next year or so. In 2024, they're down -2% on their earnings per share. Not bad if we do go into a recession, but that right there is the proof that they're not going to be experiencing that much of a drawdown. And you can see that it is trading ever so slightly upwards, but with a little bit of a turn back right now, given that oil has taken a bit of a nosedive down to $68 a barrel. And that's what motivated Warren to pick it up, because oil naturally is going to get consumed and we're going to expect to see oil moving back up. Now, moving on from that, the Eurozone did increase its interest rates by 0.5 basis points or 50 basis points. Now, the reason why they've done that is because, yes, the banking sector in the US has been affected by the Federal Reserve's approach to increasing interest rates. Look what Steve says. Where is he? Here you go. Big short investor, Steve. He's saying that if the Fed is scared to raise rates, you should be scared too. Why? Because this is the conundrum that the Federal Reserve has. If they don't increase interest rates, they run the risk of inflation going even higher. If they do increase interest rates, what's going to happen to the banking sector? Because they're already struggling as it is. Because interest rates are so high, no one's taking on any of the services provided by them. For example, mortgages or loans. They're not able to make or circulate the money that is being given to them. So this is why we're going to be waiting for next week. Now, next week, we do have big news announcements. Tomorrow, we have the consumer sentiment coming out and the inflation expectations, which are market movers. And Friday's a little bit of a tricky day. So just be mindful. Close any positions that you might have, because if the volatility doesn't go in your favor, it's going to move fast. Pay yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Going into the start of next week, Wednesday, March the 22nd, we have our beloved FOMC press conference and the federal funds rate. 25 basis points or a pause. Now, let me tell you, if the market does see that they do pause on the interest rates, there will be an initial reaction that could last for a day or it could last for a couple of weeks, and everything will move up because the market will see it as, yay, we don't have the worry of higher interest rates, but you still got inflation knocking on the back door. That's the problem that the Federal Reserve has. And in this meeting, this is what they're going to be disclosing. The bulk of this meeting is going to be in the press conference. There will be an initial reaction in the economic projections, the federal statement, and then, of course, the funds rate. But it's the press conference that they will be waiting for, because that's when they're going to be fired the questions. When's the pivot? When's the terminal rate? Where do you think we're going to end up? Jerome Powell is going to be put on the stand and he's going to be fired a lot of questions, which leads me on to the next type of stand that we might actually see moving forward. Check this out. FTX influencers are facing $1 billion class action lawsuit over alleged crypto fraud promotion. That's not good. Luckily, we only talk about price action on our channel, and I might even say to you, join the Patreon as well. That is it. Won't talk about anything else. But we can see Edwin Garrison is trying to push for certain YouTubers on this influential, on the FTX influencers scam, or scandal for the better word. That's bad news. Now, whatever comes from this might be speculation, because it was not so long ago that we found out that Sam Bankman-Fried paid himself $2 billion from the FTX fund on some bizarre assets, something crazy. What's going on? And that leads me over to this, Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu falls 10% amid Shibarium code drama by someone in their Discord saying you can't have the same chain ID as someone else. So that kind of pissed on Shiba Inu's party. I mean, if we go over to Shiba Inu and have a look at that price action right there, you can see that Shiba Inu at the time takes a bit of a nosedive, but this is where opportunities rise. Because let's make the assumption that they do resolve this situation about the chain code or the chain ID. And then they come out and say, okay, we have our own chain ID right now. We've put that to bed. Where do you think Shiba Inu is going to go then? It's going to start moving back up, and we would assume that they're going to come back into these vector candle regions on the 1 hour time frame in the shorter term, because that's usually what happens. Look, when we spoke about Warren, he's talking about buying up this Occidental stock. Naturally, we're going to see people react to that because they trust good old Warren B. We've also got Kevin O'Leary stepping up and calling bankers idiots. Okay. He says, and he's encouraging all CEOs to limit their deposits and only put around 20% of their liquidity into banks, just in case there's going to be another black swan idiot blow up. That's rough when Kevin O'Leary's saying that, because you can imagine how much money Kevin O'Leary has in banks. So he's kind of feeling the pain right now. Is this going to be a bank run by corporate America? Because that would be the big problem. That's why JP Morgan's rushing in. That's why Bank of America are rushing in to save banks, because they're trying to install confidence in corporate America. Could you imagine Apple wanting to withdraw liquidity? Could you imagine Amazon wanting to withdraw money from certain banks that they may be doing business with? That ain't going to be good for them. That's going to cause a big problem. So there you have it. We have the end of the week approaching. Friday, we've got the consumer sentiment data coming out, which is seen as a market mover. But just remember, it's Friday. And it's not the Friday, yeah. Nah, it's not about that. It's about one of two things. Price is either going to stable out in preparation for the FOMC meeting next week, or it's going to make a wild move. Now, Bitcoin might even drop back down and eat the recovery of the vector candles, or it could continue up. If you are in profitable positions, take the money. Take the money, ladies and gentlemen. And if you then see price going in your favor and you're out your position, well, guess what? You've now got more money to go in and spend less time in a trade to earn more money. That's the sweet spot of trading. If you are new to the channel, you've made it so far, mad love and respect. Hit the like button, make sure you subscribe so you get notified about more of these videos, and you want to learn more about the hybrid system, check out patreon.com/tradersreality and get to the tradersreality.com website where you can download the hybrid system free of charge. Mad love and respect, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.